Hi, my name is Steve Schwetz, and I'm the managing broker with Mesa Properties. And I'd like to just go over with you 15 reasons why we think you should have a property management company. If they're a good management company, all these things will be true. So the first thing is, a property manager is typically going to carry what's referred to as E&O insurance. That's errors and omissions insurance. That's beneficial so that if you were to get sued by a tenant and there's a property manager in place, typically the property manager is going to have to step in with their insurance if there were things that they were responsible for and created some type of an error or omission. The other thing is, typically a property manager is going to have better vendor performance because they are a large customer for several of their vendors, and typically, as we all are, we're more responsive to customers who give us a lot of business. And so a lot of times those vendors will respond quicker to a property manager than they will to an individual owner. The other thing is, a good property management company is going to have integrated credit bureau reporting. And what that means is, for us, Experian has access to our tenant database, and they're tracking our tenant payments. And if our tenants do become delinquent, excuse me, if our tenants do become delinquent, that information is relayed to the credit bureau. The other thing is, there's a local presence. If you don't live within a couple miles or of your property, having a local property manager who can serve a notice quickly, go over and see if a maintenance request is valid, that's a definite advantage. The other thing is a buffer between the tenant and the owner. A lot of our owners and owners of rental property want to do the right thing, and they want to be responsive to their tenants, but sometimes if a tenant gives a story that car problems, whatever, and why the rent is going to be late, a lot of times we found that owners have a harder time saying no directly to the tenant, and it's easier for a property manager to be in the middle and say, I'm sorry, this rent still needs to be paid. That's another advantage. The other thing is, most property managers who have been in a business for a while have seen all sorts of things happen in properties, heard all sorts of stories from tenants, and they can typically handle those things better having seen those things before. Another advantage of having a property management company is there would be retainers available, or I should say there are attorneys that are available on retainer. For instance, Mesa has both an association attorney and an insurance attorney that we can call for advice on specific issues, and these are real estate attorneys that are familiar both with California landlord-tenant law and the law in general. The other thing is bilingual support. If you live in California, a lot of people speak Spanish. A good property management company is going to have somebody on staff, and hopefully multiple people on staff, that speak Spanish. The other thing is, if you end up selling your property, we as a property management company can typically provide a smoother transition for you from having a tenant in place to then selling that property. The other thing is, we're readily available 24/7 via an emergency line or normal business hours. And then also, a typical property manager is going to be able to fairly and equitably handle a timely deposit disposition. There's a lot of things in there, but basically when a security deposit is in play, repairs need to be made on your property. That is the most common area of contention between a tenant and a landlord. And the courts typically are very friendly towards the tenant's side. And a good property management company is going to be familiar with the ins and outs, what is considered normal wear and tear, what is considered damage, what is typically acceptable by the courts. And they can save you the hassle of going to a small claims dispute with a tenant. And if it does come to that, they should have a justifiable reason for charging what they charged and deducting from the tenant's security deposit what was owed to them. The other thing is, a good property management company is going to utilize current technology. That means they're going to have some type of a tenant online portal that they can pay their rent online as well as submit maintenance requests. And then finally, from an owner portal as well, so that you as an owner can go in and look at your current statement, your past statements, your statements from 2 years ago, 5 years ago, however long it was, and along with that, they'll be able to pay you your disbursements from your rent via ACH. So you don't have to worry about a paper check. The check was in the mail, the check got lost, I got to reissue a stop payment and then another check. It just simply shows up in your account, and that's the way it should be. So if you have any other questions about a property manager, obviously we would love to manage your property, and hopefully this video gives you some idea of the advantages of going with not just Mesa, but any good reputable property management company. Thanks for listening.